The Final Destination movies could have been something more than just supernatural slasher Groundhog's Day. You've seen one Final Destination movie, you kinda seen them all. It's a fascinating concept that just never really evolved. Horror franchises work when you add on the concepts. FD will always kind of be remembered as a fascinating series, artistically stumped by having no real build-up or payoff. I get that the point of these movies is for lame brains to see mindless guts and gore, but that's what makes these movies forgettable in the long run. The lack of challenging the audience. Promising gruesome death scenes and only giving them that with no explanation or evolution of the lore within the universe. You could tell me it wasn't the filmmaker's intentions, but it's what ultimately made people lose interest in the series. There will probably never be a Final Destination 6. Despite my overly pretentious and snobby tone, I find these movies fascinating. People forget this, but the first Final Destination was kind of more of a drama than a supernatural slasher, at least in my interpretation of it. The tone really does set the weight of the world with these characters. However, it's far from a perfect movie. This is a story that would probably work better with a mini-series format, not a quick movie. The FBI scenes were a bit bland. Like, it's understandable that a guy like Alex would be under suspicion, but they could have made these scenes stand out. Well, okay, that guy's name is Agent Shrek. Fuck it, make that a meme. More scenes of other characters interacting with each other would have made this film better, because in my opinion, that was the best part of the movie. The later movies make the characters the definition of archetypes, so you don't really think of the later movies as a drama. Here, they do have a bit more to them, even if they do get offed quickly, one by one. Carver is a douche, but will acknowledge the situation. Terry is a hot blonde chick, but seems to have a personality outside of being a hot blonde chick. She does get killed a little too early before you really notice. That's what ultimately makes this movie more impactful than the later ones. Even though these characters don't get too much screen time, you can sense there's reality to them. You don't really want them to die, which ultimately makes the concept of beating death more satisfying. Even if you disagree with me and think these are cliché characters, it's way more unsubtle in the sequels. They are basically walking tally marks. And all of the deaths are just done so comedically that you don't really feel the drama or need to see them beat death, making it kind of pointless. The earlier films have a tongue-in-cheek vibe with the deaths, and that's fine, but there's still a consistent tone of dread. There's a balance. It makes the first movie respectable until the ending completely fucks it up. I never liked the official ending to the first Final Destination. It felt desperate and forced. The original ending is superior. I don't care that the pop-punk listening douchebags in the test screening didn't like it. Smart guys with big dicks like me prefer the original ending. Death actually gets defeated. Alex sacrifices himself, but his legacy lives on as he created new life with Clear. It also seems like Carter matured into a better person. Now, it's not the most groundbreaking ending, and maybe there should have been scenes earlier in the film to make this ending stronger, but it's still a solid ending. It brings balance to the dread. Final Destination is a flawed but interesting movie. With another rewrite, this could have been a solid 9 out of 10, but I'm gonna give it a 6. I was thinking 7, but the official ending sucks ass.
If you're not watching the Super Mario Bros. Super Show, you're gonna turn into a Goomba!
Final Destination 2 is a movie I really don't know how to feel. It's bigger, there's no dragging FBI plot, and the characters interact more. There's an established mythos. It's cool they brought back Clear. The soundtrack is decent, it's intense, and it's also the sign of a de-evolving franchise.
Super P!
It puts more emphasis on the kills rather than the drama, and also has a cheap wannabe tongue-in-cheek ending. Final Destination 3 is far from a great movie, but it's really interesting. From a filmmaking standpoint, I really like the colorful, atmosphere-driven lighting. Really blends the dark subject matter with the workaday world aura of the setting, making the brutality of the movie much more chilling. It's a very intense movie that does entertain you. However, the problem is that, like the last one, it's a walking half measure. They expect me to take the dramatic moments seriously when the film expects the audience to laugh at two random girls burning to death. It's kinda sick. The protagonists are alright. Oh hey, it's the chick from Scott Pilgrim. Imagine writing a butthurt song about women about this actress. Anyway, the main characters were alright, but a lot of the characters are just walking tally marks, ready to get slaughtered for a depraved audience. I will say giving a human character an antagonistic role was pretty interesting. There should have been more with that. A big flaw of the movie is the ending. It's a big fuck you. Basically just saying death cannot be beat, so there's no point of the fucking movie.
Stop McWhining! Stop it! Right this second!
The fourth Final Destination is big, loud, energetic, and absolutely stupid. But on a spiritual level, I kind of respect it. Not because it's a good movie, but because it doesn't bullshit the audience with the half measure of comedy and drama. It's basically a comedy. Most of the characters are literally pushed to comedic levels of exaggeration. This was done so you don't really care who lives or dies. The most compelling character in the movie is a guy who accepts death, and that's actually interesting, but it gets cut short for gruesome slapstick. It's kind of amazing how seriously taken this premise was in the first movie to this state. It seems to celebrate the deaths, having homages to the previous kills. The opening of the second movie did something similar with the deaths in the first movie, but it's done in a creepy foreshadowing way that's supposed to be chilling. Here they're showing you the previous deaths to get you pumped up. Like you're not watching a movie, but a fucking kill compilation video. Also, the ending is a big fuck you. You can't beat death, so therefore the climax is pointless and the movie is pointless. Whatever. Final Destination 5 is a weird one. It kinda goes back to the half measure, only the drama is more intense, while the few comedic moments are even more silly. It's hard to explain. However, the film does try to be dreadful. It works, kind of. I don't know. It just all feels so tired. This would have been a great movie if it was the second. It's nice it tries to be more dramatic, but the fact the franchise is still doing the whole gosh golly how can we beat death thing is well stale. I will say having another human antagonist with the Tom Cruise lookalike trying to kill someone else to be spared was interesting. The movie should have had that from the start. The ending of the movie is a fuck you, but it's actually very unique and interesting fuck you. It's a creative nod to the original Final Destination 5. It's not a bad movie. It just sucks it's the fifth one. The fifth movie of a franchise should not have a similar plot to the first. Personally, I would have loved if the later Final Destination movies turned into a fantasy franchise. Imagine if some of the characters actually did beat death, and in the fifth or fourth movie, the survivors would have to team up to discover the reason for the vision. Now that's how you energize a franchise. Why do specific people get the visions? How is this motherfucker involved? Give me answers instead of making the same fucking movie. I don't care if these movies end with a battle between heaven or hell. It's better than repeating the same story on an eternal stalemate. This is a problem with most horror franchises. They start out with fascinating concepts taken seriously, then just turn into mindless checklist of the expected tropes for slasher fans. Deranged, dumbass nerds who don't care about horror for the psychological and chilling tones, but only for which death was the most epic. Fucking plebeians. Movies are supposed to challenge the audience. When all you do is reward their sadistic thirst, you're only making slop. Death means nothing if the only hook is death. Final Destination might not be the greatest horror movie out there, but it was decent and deserved much better sequels. Same with most horror movies. Maybe the people who make and watch this shit just don't care. Whatever. I don't care. God, I fucking hate movies.